Is Thailand worth visiting for the winter 21 vacation? Well, the short answer is hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having a wonderful day wherever you are. Thank you for the continued support, we really appreciate it. My name is Gleb, and if you're new to the channel, welcome. If you find this information, please leave a like, subscribe, comment, and all that jazz. It really helps the channel grow. Also, since we are making this content for free for you, we would really appreciate it. Today we're going to talk about a topic that I think will be very useful for those of you who are on the fence whether or not to come to Thailand for your winter vacation, or even for a long stay. When it comes to traveling abroad, we all have our different needs and our wants, so there is no one correct answer to this question. In my previous videos, I talked about two new visa types that were introduced by the Thai government and the Ministry of Tourism. And some people thought that the conditions for these visas were a little bit harsh. Well, the goal of today's video is to help you weigh out some of the pros and cons of your next possible investment. This is going to be a non-biased comparison to help you make the best possible decision for yourself so that you're not met with any buyer's remorse later. We're going to lay down the hard facts and show you some clips from the ground here so you can see for yourself. Some of the negatives you already know, so let's start with those. Then we will move on to the list of unprecedented positives coming at this time. So let's dive right into it. Number one, the party scene here has died down. Overall, Clubland is pretty quiet nowadays. Not that many people out at pubs and clubs at night, especially here in Koh Samui and Phuket. I cannot speak for Bangkok, so if that's your thing, you might be a little bit let down. Number two would be having to stay in quarantine for 15 days at an ASQ hotel and making all of those reservations. Although this may be one of the deterrents for people coming to Thailand, I do believe that it's common sense for a country to put this measure into place. I had someone comment that this is racist, which is simply not true, because everyone who's coming in from abroad is expected to follow the same procedure down to the ASQ booking, including the local Thai people. This is in no way discriminatory, but rather a prevention measure in order not to prevent all of the hard work put in by the government, all of the local people, and everybody else here. The next one is a bit of a bummer. Really it is. Many places have closed down until further notice. This includes hotels, restaurants, entertainment venues, exchange points for money, etc. The list goes on, but that's what it's like all around the world right now. This one is a bit upsetting for most people, I understand. You might find yourself disappointed to find out maybe one of your favorite hotels is closed or maybe one of your favorite restaurants or clubs is closed down, but that's just the way it is. When I say closed down, I don't mean they've shut down forever. Perhaps some places have, but that doesn't mean every place. I have heard some information down through the grapevine that most places will open back up. It kind of ties into the previous one. It's not as simple to book a tour simply because lots of the tour agencies have closed down. Like many other businesses, the internal travel industry has been heavily impacted. Most places that organize group tours are unfortunately closed down at the moment. This could change at any time though, so stay tuned. But that doesn't mean you can't find any group tours. There are other companies that are doing private group tours. It just might be a little bit more inconvenient if you want to go sightseeing. But don't let me scare you by saying that you can't go see places. Yes, you still can. The next one is quite obvious. It's the hassle of gathering information for the visa and waiting for it to be processed. For some, the entire process, which varies in length depending on which visa you plan on getting, may also be unattractive, and I understand that. Last but not least, flights within the country are limited, and flights to neighboring countries are also limited, so it's going to be quite difficult getting around if you plan to travel by air. So now that we got the bad news out of the way, let's move on to the good news, which there are plenty of. Alright, so number one would be that you have the beaches all to yourselves. If you're like me and enjoy your private personal space, then this is a big one. There are quite literally times when you can go to the beach and there's nobody there. Most other times, there will be maximum a small group of locals at the beach enjoying their dinner, or maybe a small group of foreigners, or the odd dog running by. And that's pretty much it. So needless to say, this is a great opportunity to take in the beauty of the beaches that Thailand has to offer all by yourself, which is quite amazing. The next thing I'd like to talk about is there are lots of discounts at the moment on all kinds of things. Food, private tours, transport, whether it be your motorbike or a car, clothing, accommodation, so you gotta look out for those. You can save a lot of money. For the budget traveler who is worried that they're going to spend a whole bunch of money getting the visa and going through the quarantine, this is something to help you lighten the load. Most places have some kind of deals. As well, make sure to keep an eye on government incentives for expats on hotels and flights, as there are some active ones even at this moment until the end of the month. I would not be surprised if they sweeten the deal in the coming months as well. The next one is there's less traffic on the roads, which in turn also means cleaner air. As you all know, the most popular form of transportation in Thailand is the scooter. Due to the low amount of travelers this year, there's significantly less traffic, which means safer roads and less maneuvering. This one's pretty big for me as well. It's very quiet here, it's not noisy. This one is self-explanatory. Since the party scene has calmed down here in Thailand, you can rest assured that you will get a good night's rest in most popular tourist destinations. Next, there are no waiting times for getting something. Like for example, you want a massage or you want to get a haircut, you can get in and out at your earliest convenience. It's excellent. The next one's also extremely self-explanatory. The sidewalks are not as clustered. If you've been to Phuket before or Koh Samui, you know that if you're walking down the sidewalk, it's hard to get through the crowds of people. Now, that's not a problem anymore. You can walk freely without bumping into people or having to go onto the road and maneuver. The next one's pretty awesome as well. Popular tourist spots do not have large amounts of people. Do you hate when you go somewhere to take some beautiful pictures and you have to wait in line for 40 minutes to get that perfect shot or shoot a video? Well, that's not a problem anymore. You're free to go and spend as much time taking a photo until you get the perfect one. Alright, now I know I said a lot of places have gone out of business like bars or clubs, but that doesn't mean they're all closed. There are still lots and lots of bars that are still open and often have great deals on drinks. And you don't need to deal with the drunk and belligerent people at the bars. The next point is that infection rates are very low here in Thailand, which makes it a very desirable place to come to during these times. Which brings me to my next point. Masks are not mandatory when you're outdoors, although still mandatory when you go indoors, just for good measure, not in any way strictly enforced. You're free to roam around, enjoy that fresh sea air, or that lovely Bangkok air without a mask on. It is still advised that you wear one when you are entering a public, crowded area. Alright, so moving on. The good weather is just beginning. What many people look forward to most is probably the good weather. The rainy season ended a little later this year than usual, and we are just now entering the good weather, so you haven't missed anything just yet. Even though the tourist industry has quieted down quite a bit, there are still plenty of people about, including lots of locals, just not as rammed with tourists as it usually is during high season. So if you're a social butterfly, you can still easily make friends with some of the locals or some people from other countries, no problem. Go to dinner with them, have a barbecue, or have a drink. Okay, so now that we have all of that covered and we looked at both sides of the spectrum, the big question is Thailand worth visiting for the winter 21 vacation? Well, the short answer is yes. That is if you're looking to get away and relax from the stress back home. If you're planning to come to stay for an extended period of time and have missed the warm weather and the great hospitality and friendly people of Thailand. Or maybe you want to come for a family vacation, just lay around on the beaches, do some peaceful sightseeing, and just switch scenery, then this is for you. On the other hand, if you're planning to have a wild ride around the country and party with a lot of people, you might want to think about it. Although that is still possible, it just wouldn't be as epic as it normally would be. Well, that about wraps it up for today. I hope you found that useful, and please, if you did find it useful, feel free to leave a comment, like, and don't forget to subscribe for upcoming videos. Let us know in the comments what else you would like to see, and we may feature it in a future video. Until then, cheers, and have a good one, stay safe, and see you soon.